Welcome to the third Wealthy Boomer interview with Barry Fish, the principal with Fish & Associates in Thornhill, Wills Estates Lawyers, the co-author with Les Kotzer of a new book on Wills Estates called Where There's an Inheritance. Welcome back, Barry.
It's a pleasure, John.
Now, we're going to do in this final episode, we want to talk about the emotionally heart-rending stories that you're talking about. We thought we'd start off right off the bat with a particular story that when you told it to me in the cafeteria before we came up here, you just about had tears in your eyes. What was it about?
There's a lot of pent-up emotion in what confronts us when we are being asked to put the cast, so to speak, to the last wishes of a person. In this particular story, a woman was living common law with a fellow called Eugene, and they had a 5-year-old daughter. And the woman was terminal and didn't have long to live. And her concern was, what am I going to do about my daughter? Who's going to know how to...
The daughter, how old at this point?
5 years old. And who's going to know how to brush her hair at night? Who's going to know what kind of stories to read her? And this is what we're intaking from this particular person. Now, she was torn apart in naming the guardian. She had a sister, but her sister had 3 children of her own and was struggling. And she really had a problem imposing this kind of a burden on her sister. She also had a 75-year-old mother, but the concern was, as much as Grandma loved her grandchild, how able was her mother to look after the child. And it tore her apart to the point that she broke down and cried. In any event, what happens is she gives the instructions to make the will, leaving blank the reference to the guardian until she makes up her mind. So she can look at a draft, and at the last moment the proper name would be plugged in. That's from the legal side. From her side, she's vacillating back and forth. Mother, sister, mother, sister. She finally decides on sister. But when she comes to the will appointment, she just can't find it in her heart to do it. At that point, she breaks down, and Eugene comes in and asks what's the problem. And 20 seconds after hearing her predicament, he says, she's our child. I'll take her. You don't have to worry. I'll look after her. My love for you is for her. And that solved it. Eugene became the guardian. And what's so dramatic is that you see the mother, the child, and Eugene leaving hand in hand, and the matter is solved. But the torture this woman went through, it was just so significant. You can't hold it inside. You have to express it. I mean, this book is our way of letting it out. You can't just hold this in. There are other stories like that.
I was going to ask, I mean, this one was tears, but you also have some funny ones where laughter is the emotion.
Oh, yes.
Perhaps you can close with an example of a funny story.
Now, in terms of the humorous part, we had the the uncle who was elderly and for business purposes gave everybody the impression that he was very hard of hearing.
Oh, I remember this one.
And in fact, he was not at all hard of hearing. But he utilized this for business, and it occurred to him that he would utilize it in his relationship to his nieces and nephews. He just wanted to know a little bit more about how they felt.
About him.
About him.
What they really thought.
He trusted one of his nieces, but he didn't trust the others. In any event, it all comes to a head at the celebration of his 90th birthday. And then he pulls off the hearing aid and he says, "I never needed this." And then he turns to one of them and says, "So you think I'm a pain in you know what?" And he turns to another one and says, "So you think it's a nuisance to drive me to the doctor?" And he goes on and on and on. And of course, his ultimate will reflects these feelings, and the niece pretty well is favored in the estate.
There's some justice in that story, I think.
Yes.
And that's only those are just two stories of the 80 in the book. Where There's an Inheritance by Barry Fish and Les Kotzer. Fish and Associates is a group in Thornhill, Ontario. You can walk in and get a free will anytime you want. I've been there, not for a free will, but to have some good times with you and Les. If you want to order the book, you can get it presumably at Chapters. It's in various bookstores, and you can go to www.aninheritance.com.
Yes.
And is there anything else, a 1-800 number or anything?
Oh, yeah, there's 1-877-439-3999. Again, 1-877-439-3999, and certainly it can be obtained by calling that number.
Good luck with the book.
Thank you.
And thank you for coming in, Barry.
A pleasure.